Alright, how's everybody doing? I'm going to demonstrate a very effective fly. It's called a woolly bugger. It's one of the top 10 searching flies in the category of flies that you should always have in your box. Just happens to be a black one. You can also tie them in white, brown, olive, multiple different colors. So this is a black one. Let's get started. First of all, the one thing you want to have is a quality hook, because just like a fly, your hook is your foundation, and you want to have a good quality hook. I'd highly recommend a Daiichi 1750. As an all-purpose size, I prefer a size 10. You can tie these up as big as size 4, but this is it right here. So let's get started on one. I've already got a hook out of the package, and I want my shank of my hook to be kind of parallel to my working surface, which would be the desk that I'm on right now. The thread I'm using is a black 3/0 monocord. Let me get a spool out of the box so you can see the name, just in case I am stuttering a little bit. Let's see, Danville 3/0 monocord right there, and in black. So you can see about how wide your thread is, and I want my thread to be to start about 3 or 4 wraps behind my hook eye. And I'm just going to keep wrapping over itself, building a thread base going right down the hook shank. And the reason for the thread base is when you put your feathers on here, if you don't have a nice waxed thread base, you'll be able to grab your feather and just pull it right out. So you want a good thread base down before you attach your next step. And you can see we stopped just before the bend of the hook, and now I'm going to bring my thread all the way back forward, and I'm going to stop just before the spot where we started, and I'm going to select one feather, and I don't want all this loose stuff here on there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of half-heartedly eyeball my feather, cut the rest of this stem, discard. This is a black marabou, and I will show you the packaging in just a second. And I want my tail to be just as long as what my overall hook is, but up to 1.5 times. The longer your tail is, the more apt you are to have short strikes where they will only grab just the tail of the fly. So I want my tail to come to right about the edge of this little knob right here. I'm going to switch hands, cut this excess off, set it right on top of the hook, do a pinch wrap. Now I'm going to finish wrapping forward. I'm going to lift up as I'm wrapping so my marabou stays on top of our hook. And there's our tail. Alright, where's the marabou at? Here it is. Let's see, right there. Strung black marabou, right there. So now we need a feather. You can use either strung saddle hackles, or you can use a saddle hackle. And I'm going to pluck one of these webby feathers off, And I'm going to tie it in by the tip. I'm going to pinch it, pull back on the feathers, the barbules, and make a little gap right there. I'm going to set that right on the side of the hook, and I'm going to start wrapping forward. Bring my thread right back to the front. Now for the body material, I'm using black chenille, and I'm using a size fine. The reason I'm using a size fine is so that it does not take away from our hook gap. Because we go fishing to catch fish, not to go fishing to have bites and lose fish. So if we used a size medium chenille or a large chenille, when we wrap, it's going to take away from that hook gap right there. And we don't want that. We want as much hook gap as we possibly can get in order for when the fish takes it, you set the hook, there's actually a fish there. So I'm going to bring my thread forward. I'm going to tie a half hitch. And this is a rotary vise, so I'm going to use my bobbin cradle. I got my thread strung over this. And here is my size fine chenille. And I'm going to start wrapping with each wrap touching the previous wrap. There's our body. And now I'm going to secure this with our working thread. About 3 or 4 wraps is all we need. I'm going to cut the excess. And again, I'm going to tie a half hitch. Put my thread in the bobbin cradle. And I'm going to use my scissors as an example so you can see how much hook gap we've got in between there. There is plenty of hook gap to catch and hook a fish. So now I'm going to get my feather and I'm going to start palmering it, which basically means wrapping it forward. I'm going to kind of brush those back. There we go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of separate these fibers a little bit. Pull out on my feather. A couple, 3 or 4 wraps just to secure it. Cut the extra off. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my fingers, these 3 fingers, pull everything back, secure all the materials, and I'm going to use a whip finish. And then I'm going to put a second whip finish on. And there is just your standard woolly bugger. Just pull it tight, cut my thread, and there's a woolly bugger. I'm Scott Bowerman, Daiichi Pro Tire, and this is your standard woolly bugger. Please be safe, everybody out there, and we'll see you again soon. Take care now. Tight lines. Bye-bye.